Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Dennis Carroll, the Midnight Hunter. Welcome to another edition of Hunting the Shadows. And tonight we're hunting some very unusual prey. I've got my Monster Hunter cap on, so we're definitely going to be looking into that. We're looking into reptilians, the revelation of reptilians, okay? It's going to be an interesting show, so stay with us, definitely. We've got a lot of ground to cover. And what I read to you at the beginning is from the movie, of course, They Live, with the street preacher. Kind of gets the goods on that. And you know, this speech is still very true for us even today. Uh, we've got to know that our masters are out there. They're all around us. They rule. We serve, whether we realize that or not. Absolutely. I want to thank everybody piling in here on the in the grotto tonight. Hello, Carl, and I think we got Red Pill in here and Cryptid Warfare. Hello, sir. Good to have you here, brother. And good to have you here, Mister Red Pill Preacher. And thank you, Danette, for that $4.99 sticker. Thank you, dear. Appreciate that. You are a blessing, definitely. I thank you so much for that. And that's going to help out a lot. It helps out a lot. Every little bit helps, definitely. Absolutely. No matter what we put in the pot, it helps. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Carl. Good to have you here. And Carl waving at us there and everything. But hey, yeah, we're going to talk about our masters tonight. Yes, the reptilians. You know, this is the true face, my friends, of fallen angels. Okay, and that's what we're going to get into and we're going to talk about tonight. I've seen these things. Okay, I know what they look like. They do. They have. They are actually kin to the Orpheum or the Sephram and the Cherubim. They're different types of angels. And this is one of the strangest types. They are described as fiery serpents. And you know, when you go back to the original story of the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, who showed up in the form of what? A serpent. That was Satan. Absolutely. Of course, you know, it never called him by name, but we know who he was. Okay, we know we recognize his modus operandi when he shows up. Absolutely. Um, Hello, something I want to share with you. Wherever I'm at, okay, it's Dogman research area. Okay, that's wherever I'm at. It's Dogman research area. Okay, I have the official sign here. We put that up definitely. But I want to thank everyone for showing up tonight. You know, without a doubt, this that speech cuts deep into what's going on in the world around us today. Absolutely. And we got to realize that there's a lot of stuff going on, even in the background. You got to remember the 3Ds of Satan: deception, distraction, and disillusionment. He wants to disillusion people, and he wants to distract them, and then he wants to misdirect them in different ways and all that. So this is the way he works. And he's working the same formula in our world today. I have actually seen these beings, okay, for what they really look like. And believe me, you don't want to see them. You really don't. If it will change you fundamentally. When you see something like that, it changes your whole outlook and perspective on things. Not for the good either. Definitely not. And it's something I would not wish on my worst enemy. Absolutely. If I had a worst enemy, I would not wish it on them. Okay. But I have met these things, shook hands with one time. Okay. And believe me, it was not a good experience. Matter of fact, I suffered some very severe spiritual attack after that episode. So these things are deep in the spiritual recesses of our universe, my friends. Although they can appear and take on physical attributes, they can take physicality and become something other than spiritual when they want to. Okay, this makes them doubly dangerous. Okay, you're not just dealing with a spiritual thing, you're dealing with something that goes into the physical aspects as well. And when that happens, all the cards are off the table. I mean, anything can happen. Okay, And you got to remember that. That's why these things are so very downright dangerous. These shapeshifters and angels, in whatever form they come in, whether they're rogue angels or they're the good angels, they can shapeshift. They can change their molecular structure. Okay? It's very important that we realize that and understand that. But anyway, had a little some flaky stuff happen last night with the YouTube. I don't know if you encountered any of you encountered that, but it went down for a few minutes there. I think for about 30 minutes, YouTube went down. Could not access the page, couldn't do anything, and then at the very end, I finally got it back. Everything turned pink. I don't know what happened with that. Everything went pink, so I had to completely sign out of YouTube and sign back into it, and that straightened it out finally. I don't know if you had any problems, but they were talking about it on the news today, and definitely I think there were a good many thousands that did have that problem on YouTube. And that's I think in the many years that I have dealt with YouTube, one of the very first times I've ever seen it go down like that. That was very strange. Very strange. But I want to tell you something, okay? Like I said, Hebrew for serpent is Nakash. Nakash, I guess would be how you would pronounce that. But yeah, they are the fiery serpents that dwell in fire. That's their elemental part of them. That's fire, like beings. Now, the cherubim was described as being walking among precious stones, covered in precious stones. That was Satan, by the way. He was the covering cherubim. Okay, and I experienced the same thing happen with YouTube last night. There you go, Terry. It was pretty widespread, but that was very strange. Never had that happen before. And but I wanted to warn everybody about that. Be careful and be watchful about that, because I think some things are being fine-tuned in the background by certain powers, shall we say, that are not the good guys, all right? And I think they're screwing around with stuff. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about history, okay? Did a great show with my good friend, the Common Historian, last night. He should be dropping it very soon. When he does, I will let you, I will definitely give you a link to it. And it's about the haunted president, Abraham Lincoln. I told some stuff on it. It's going to blow your mind when you hear it. And it was a very good show with the Common Historian. I like to call him the Uncommon Historian because he's uncommon to me. He is a great guy, but his name is Jeremy Bruxton. And you need to check his show out, The Common Historian. I love the history, especially history nobody ever talks about. And there was some really wild stuff with Abraham Lincoln. Body stealing, body snatching, all kinds of weird stuff. And demon cats in the White House. You name it. We covered it, definitely. It was a great show. And some really strange paradoxical type stuff that went on between Lincoln and Kennedy. We talked about some of that too. So if you get a chance to check it out, you will enjoy it. Okay, it was a great show. Yes, I do like history. I am sort of an amateur historian. I love to get into history, but I like the unknown, untalked about parts of history. And I did just a great show with my friend Star Fox, Lord Star Fox. We did a show with him, The Silence After Rome. It's nothing but about history. Did a great show with him on Alexander the Great. He'll be dropping that very soon. You need to check it out. Great episode on that. Some more unusual history, okay? And they preserve the body of Alexander the Great in honey. Did you know that? I'm not joking. Honey. It is a great preservative. As a matter of fact, honey has been found in the tombs of ancient Egypt, 4,000 years old and still edible. You could still eat it. It was still good. 4,000 years later. Think about that. Wild stuff. All right. But anyway, maybe keeping the third eye open is best. You got to watch out about that third eye. Yeah, you got to be very careful with this stuff. Be very careful how you open your minds to things, okay? Make sure that if you do have your mind open or you're trying to open yourself up to things, make sure you do it the right way. And that is through, prayer and meditation on the right things. Never, ever, ever, and I warn people about this, never, ever blank your mind. Do not blank your mind. They do teach this in yoga and certain other things. Don't do that. Because if you blank your mind, you're sort of opening the door to your mind. Be very careful when you open doors because there are things out there waiting for you to open the doors, okay? And you don't want those things coming in your door. Trust me, you don't. I've seen way too many bad things happen when you open those doors to the wrong things, okay? So be very, very, very careful how you approach stuff like that. That's just I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just telling you, I'm warning you. Having seen what I've seen, knowing what I know, okay? Be very, very, very cautious in how you do that, okay? And how you mess around with that. Because I've had a lot of people go, oh, I can astral project my body and all that. And I can run around. I say, well, you may have a little fun with that to start with, but you're playing with fire. You're going to get burnt if you're not very careful. And believe me, when I mean burnt, you get burnt to a crisp with this stuff, okay? So be very, very careful because you're opening yourself up. And whenever you do this, spiritually, you open yourself up. And you don't want to do that because there are things out there waiting to touch you spiritually that are not good, okay? And we've talked about this before about people touching you. Certain people like vampire, energy vampires, or certain people that sorcerers, witches, whatever, they have to touch you to initiate a spell, okay? They can put the spell into their hand and then walk up and touch you with that hand. They're casting a spell on you, okay? I've seen them do this. I've seen them do it in Walmart. They do this in places. The witches do this, okay? That's how they cast a spell on you. So be very careful who you allow touch you and take things from people or whatever. You don't know what you're doing, If you don't know those people, be very, very cautious with them, okay? Because everyone's not got your best interest at heart. Trust me. And I shook hands with a reptilian like that one time. I mean, I was met this guy. He looked normal. I shook hands with him, looked down, and I was not shaking the hand of a human being, my friends. Okay? I was not. I was shaking the hand of something that looked very much like, let me pull this up for you. Looked very much like this guy here. I got the right. That guy right there in the boardroom looked very much like that. He had long black claws, like the hand was dry and it was cool and it felt like handling a snake. Actually, that's what it felt like. And I didn't see a face like that. I just saw a hand. When I looked up, it was still a human face, but he knew that I saw him. So he jerked his hand away and got gone real quick. And he knew that I saw that, okay? There's people who astral project and a bad spirit jumps into their body. That's what happens to her, and that's what you're looking for when you mess around with stuff like that. You're looking for demonic possession going on, okay? You don't want to go there. You do not want to go into that territory. You're opening a whole can of very bad and ugly worms. You do not want to open. When you open the can of demonic possession, okay? You do not want to go there. It will destroy you, okay? Pure and simple. It's just, something like, if somebody would say, hey, don't step on that board, there's a nail in it, then it's on you if you step on the board, okay? Don't do that. And so that's what I'm telling you here. There's certain things you don't need to be doing. And that's one of them, opening the door to demonic spirits, okay? Because they're waiting for an opportunity. They're always watching, listening, waiting. They want to screw up your life, okay? Don't forget that. They want to destroy you. That's what they're all about. Don't give them that opportunity, okay? Do not let them have that opportunity. It's bad enough you've got an enemy out there that wants to destroy you, but it's even worse if you help them. Don't give your enemy any help, okay? That's one thing you don't want to do. Wear your armor, absolutely, all the time. Keep that armor in place, okay? Absolutely. And but anyway, that's what you got to work with. But I mean, that happened to me. That opened my eyes. Up until that time, I was kind of trusting people. And I said after that experience, and I had nightmares. I won't say nightmares, but I had very weird dreams. And it was a weird time for several weeks after I shook hands with this guy. And I said from then on, hey, Dennis, you learned a lesson here. Don't, be careful who you touch and all that, even who shaking hands with somebody. I'm very cautious about that. Now, I'm not trying to be rude to people, but having, experienced what I experienced, I'm very cautious about that, who I touch and who I allow touch me, because you don't know what's really going on here sometimes, because things are never what they appear to be. You may believe something is one way, but find out isn't something else entirely different. That's the way a lot of things work in this world. Okay, they present themselves the wrong way. They either try to give you the wrong impression, or they get you to jump to the wrong conclusion. And then, just between you, my friends, some exercise that some people get, the only exercise they ever get is what? Jumping to conclusions. Most of the time, they're jumping to the wrong conclusion. That's the problem. I had a teacher used to say that was the word assume, ASSUME. Don't ever assume. It makes an ass out of you and me. That's the way she was spelled on the board. But anyway, that is very true. You got to be careful what you assume, because everything you assume may not be correct. Okay, a lot of people got this attitude, and I want to say this right here. Okay, most people are going to believe what they want to believe. They already believe that, and they just want you to agree with it. That's what makes them happy, if you agree with what they believe. Okay. And we got to start rocking people's boats a little bit here. We got to say, hey, just because you believe that doesn't make it true. I told you that about my friend who turned against me, now hates my guts, believing something about me that was absolutely not true. That sticks in your craw. When people believe something about you that is not true and never happened, it's hard to get past that, because they've stuck a label on you that doesn't belong there. They believe something that is absolutely not true. It did not happen the way they think it did, but that's what they want to believe. Do you get that? That's what they want to believe. Be careful what you want to believe. May not necessarily be the truth. Always be careful with that. Always try to get a handle on the real truth. What did I say at the beginning of this program? Okay. And the truth is not in them. Okay. And the truth is they've got the venom of snakes under their lips. Their tongues are full of lies and bitterness and curses. That's what people you need to stay away from. Okay. Because these people are doing things. I'm going to tell you something. Okay. And I'm not trying to be judgmental here. Okay. All right. I do not use bad language myself. Okay, I do not do that. I do not curse, or whatever you want to call it. I don't do that. I do not go around cursing people and things, because the more you go around cursing people and things, the more your life will become a curse. Okay, you not understand that. You're speaking curses. Your life will become a curse. You're inviting curses into your life. You not understand that. The more negative you put out, the more negative you're going to get back. This is just the law of the universe, okay? So if you put out good, positive stuff, put out blessings, not curses, okay? You will get blessings back. It's just that simple, okay? It's just that true. But you got to exercise that formula to get it to work, Yes, I saw a story of a woman with one of those reptiles tried to attack her and have sex. She said it sprayed her with something, and she found it hard to shower that scent off. Yeah. Well, I heard they spit on you like that. They can spit on you like a venom, and it does stuff to you. Yeah, I've heard of that. I'm gonna tell you something about the serpents, the reptile thing. It is what their true nature is. Fallen angels look like that because once upon a time they were fiery servants of God. Now they're not. They have lost their glory. There's nothing good about them anymore. Now they have their original form of snakes about them. And I've seen what they look like. They look like honest to God snakes. Okay, they've got snake eyes and tongues, and they even speak like snakes. Their speech is got slitherly s to it. Everything in this, they might say something like baseball, and it goes out long, baseball. Or they talk in a long thing, weird stuff. I call it snake language. That's what it is. You got to remember something about that. Angels have their own language, by the way. I don't know if you know this or not, but the angels have their own language. They talk about El Shaddai. El Shaddai is Jewish, by the way, Hebrew for God of glory. Okay, That's angelic language. Okay, they got some angelic language out there, but then you got snake language. That's demonic language, okay? And it can sound like rubbish. And they talk and slither their voice. It sounds real like their S's are drawn out, like rules and all this. You got that on the end of it like that. That's the way they speak, okay? So they can speak in snake tongues, okay? You got that? Just like some people who have the Holy Spirit on them can speak in Holy Spirit tongues, okay? They speak in evil, demonic snake tongues. Okay, they can do that. Okay, this is wild, folks, but I'm not making this stuff up. This is real, the real deal here. Okay, and that's what you're dealing with. This is your enemy, and I want you to understand what he looks like. He may appear to you sometimes as a very nice, handsome young man or woman. He may appear to be a movie star looking kind of a guy, but don't you fall for that, because that's just the image they're putting out on you. They're using that illusional glamour on you to get you to believe something that's not real or not true. And just like that, she says spraying on people. They do kind of stuff like that. They are using almost like a black magic on people. Okay, and that's what it is, basically. It is a form of sorcery. Okay, and most of these snake things, they are sorcerers. That's what they are, basically. If you want to call them anything, that's what they are. They deal with sorcery. Okay, and that's what they're up to. These are your enemies. These are the fallen angels. Okay, that's what they look like now. They're not angels anymore. They're something else. Okay, they have devolved. They've not evolved. They've devolved into these snake-like things. There's their true image. Once upon a time, they were not beautiful-looking things. Like dragons almost. To a certain extent, you could call them kind of like dragon-like things. And now they do not look like that anymore. They are terrible-looking lizard things now. I mean, they look like snakes. That's what they look like. And they have a forked tongue. They have snake eyes. They got the whole works. That's what they are. They're walking, two-legged snakes. That's what they are. They've got arms and hands just like you and I do, and they got legs like you and I do, but they're snakes. Okay? That's what they are. So they're stronger than you are. Oh, yeah, they're stronger than you are. They could probably eat you if they wanted to. And they probably do eat people. They do eat babies and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, I'm not kidding about it. They drink blood, and they eat human flesh. That's what they're all about. Okay, because the Nephilim did that. The Nephilim, the giants, they did the same thing. Okay, and that's what your demons are now. They are the spirits of the Nephilim. They're trapped between heaven and earth. They can't go on anywhere else. They're trapped here because they're not true creations of God. Okay? They're not true creations. Like a politician, they speak snake because you can't ever figure out what they're saying when they speak through both sides of their mouth. Absolutely, Carl. They can talk a whole lot about nothing. You ever notice that? They can talk a whole lot about nothing. I think Kabbalah was good at that. What we call word salad. A bunch of words that don't mean anything. But that's the way they operate. Okay? Don't ever forget that. That's the way they operate. That's why you got so many snakes walking around that are politicians. Okay? Absolutely. I want to tell you something, my friends. You don't have to have scales and a tongue and snake eyes to be a snake. You can be a snake and be human too. Okay? You can be a human snake. They're just as bad as the angelic snakes, okay? They're just as bad. They're in the same club, okay? They use the same towels here, all right? I'm serious. They're all together. They're agents for the one guy that's running all this, and his name happens to be what? Lucifer, Satan, whatever name you want to call him. He's the bad guy. He's the boss. He's running the show in the background on this. Okay. So don't forget that. It's very important. You remember that. That's who your true enemy is. Okay. And all these guys are working for him. And, but you got to remember something very, very, very important that Jesus talked about. Okay. Listen very closely. Satan does not cast out Satan. Satan does not work against Satan. That would be stupid. He's not going to work against himself. Okay? He's not going to cast himself out of something. He's not going to make it hard on himself. He's going to make it easy on himself. That's just the way this son of a gun works. Okay? And the very same thing can be said about God. God does not cast out God. God does not work against himself. God does not work against godly things. If God's doing something, then you know 100% without a doubt it's the good stuff. Because God don't deal in the bad stuff. On the other hand, Satan is the opposite. He deals not in the good stuff. He may make it look good. Don't you fall for that. That's the trick. See, that's the trick about it. He may make it look good, but it's not good. It's really a trick. Don't fall for it. But he is not going to do anything good with evil. That's what he's up to. He's always going to do bad stuff. He may make it look good, but don't fall for it. Don't believe it, okay? That's the way that old son of a gun works, okay? You got one thing between God and Satan. God never misrepresents himself, okay? I've had people come to me and say, Dennis, you know a lot about the Bible. What's the code in it? Tell us what the code is in the Bible. I said, what are you talking about? There is no code in the Bible. God's not giving you secret code. God doesn't work that way. God doesn't have a secret code book somewhere that you could use that. That's not, where you get this at? That's Satan kind of stuff. Yeah. That's the occult knowledge he likes, that hidden knowledge, that secret stuff. That's what he deals in. You got the wrong guy, That's the way that works. Okay? So know your enemy, my friends. Know your enemy. And this is what we're talking about now. This is the revelation of the reptilians. This is what they are. This is what they do. They don't come from some other planet. I got bad news for you. They're not from Alpha Centauri or wherever you think. They come straight out of heaven once upon a time. They are no longer welcome there, though. Now they're down here with us. They have invaded this world. These aliens that we're talking about have invaded this world. They're going to use us, abuse us, and then get rid of us. That's the way they work. Okay? They don't love us. They have no love at all. They have only pure out, unadulterated hatred for us. You got to understand that. This is where your enemy is coming from. Okay? I'm not making it up. It's the real deal. This is where your enemy is coming from. This is the power source he's working from against you to destroy you. He wants to kill your grandchildren. He wants to kill your children. He wants to kill your fur babies. He wants to kill anything that you love. Do you not understand that? He's out to do that. And there's nothing good about him. There's nothing good at all about anything that he does, okay? They and they're the Senate set on the world's governments. That's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes here, the bloodline of these guys only, because I want you to look at the Bible again and look at it very closely, okay? You guys need to get the Bible down and start reading it. Just read the whole book. Take it a little bit at a time. You don't have to try to do it all in one time. I know you can't do that. Nobody's got time to do it. But you can read a little bit every day. And finally, I have read the Bible through many times, okay? You get a better perspective when you look at what most of this book is. It's a genealogical book. Go back and look at it. I'm not making this up. It is a genealogical book. It shows you a family line from Adam to a man named Jesus Christ. All the way back to Adam, okay? Why is it showing you that? That's Jesus bona fides right there, okay? He's showing you, hey, this is who I really am. And there's no screw up in my bloodline here. I'm straight from Adam, okay? And he's showing you he's got no Nephilim blood in him. He's pure. You understand that? He had to be pure from the line of David, okay? Read it. It's in there. And it lays out his genealogical profile. He didn't need to do DNA on him. He's got it in the book. It's in the book. Who got who begot who, and so on and on, all the way back to Adam. How many people can do that? Not many. Jesus can, because it's laid out that way. How we recognize a reptoid without touching it, and how can we protect ourselves from these reptoids? I'm gonna get to that in just a few minutes, Terry. Okay, I'm gonna get to that, Terry. Anyway, The whole thing about this is that's what it's about. There are certain family bloodlines in this on this planet, and we've all been touched by them a little bit. Okay, ain't none of us probably got a. Some of us may have. Very few of us have gotten away from this. Okay, we got to remember there are certain bloodlines in this world that are contaminated by the Nephilim. And here's the major thing: you can have this blood and still be the best preacher the world's ever seen. Okay, you can have this blood. What did I just say? You could have this blood and still be the best, because if you don't embrace it, it's not yours. It's not your legacy. You understand that? You have to embrace your legacy to make it yours. I've talked to a lot of people over the years that have sold their soul to Satan. Yes, I have. That actually sold their soul to Satan. They no longer had a soul. They no longer were human beings. They were childs of the darkness. These people, it's a bad way to be, but that's the way they did themselves. They did that. They turned themselves over completely. They embraced the darkness. Do you not understand? Whether or not they had this bloodline doesn't matter, really. Okay? Of course, some of these people that embraced it, that bloodline matters to them. That's because that's their heritage. They're proud of it. Can you imagine being proud of something like that? That's like saying my great uncle was Hitler. You'd be proud about it. Come on. But see, they've embraced the darkness, but some people have not. I've had a lot of people come to me over the years. So, Dr. Carroll, I got some bad blood in my family. I said, well, don't embrace it. Pray against it. Rebuke it. Turn your back on it. Don't participate with it. Don't own it. Don't let it be your legacy anymore. You don't have to have that. You can turn against it. You can repent of these sins. Do you understand that? If my great-grandfather did something terrible like that, I would repent of it. I would say, that's not me, God. Don't blame me. Please don't blame me. That was my great-grandfather. I had nothing to do with that. I rebuke it. I reject it. I repent from it. That's what you got to do. And you break the power of that curse. Do you understand that? AI has already been compromised, Red Pill. AI has just gone demonic. You might as well realize that, my friends. I said this years ago when they first come out with it. AI has been compromised. Everything has been compromised in this world by the demonic. Okay? You need to understand that. Okay? Even the word of God's being compromised by the demonic. Devils want you to get to believe stuff in that Bible that ain't there. Or he's twisted it the wrong way. Do you understand that? He did that same thing to Jesus when they first met up on planet Earth. He started quoting scripture to the Son of God. Think about that a minute, folks. What kind of brass you got on your face for that? All this has been compromised. Do not trust the things of man, because man is in bed with the demonic. Do you understand that? I don't care who it is, NASA, military, your school board. Don't trust none of them. You got to understand that they've been contaminated. They've been compromised by the demonic. That's why you need to question everything. Do you understand that? Yes, that's why he's called the Prince of the Power there. He's all around you now. He's in the Wi-Fi. He's everywhere. One day we won't have to put up with this guy anymore. That will be a wonderful day, my friends. Okay? That's a wonderful day to look forward to. When there's no more devil, no more Satan, no more demons, and all the rest of this bunch of gang down here with us anymore. We will be really free then, my friends. Woo! Well, we will be absolutely 100% free. Okay? What a wonderful time that will be. But until then, we've got to put up with these guys. We've got to fight them. We've got to rebuke them. We've got to repent of it. We've got to refuse it. We will not embrace what they stand for. We push back against the darkness. We stand with the light. If we don't, the darkness is going to take us. Okay? The darkness is going to overwhelm us. Okay, this is what it means to be a true soldier of the cross. Okay? A real crusader. All right? That's what it means. This is the way you got to fight this war. I saw one video where they showed TV reporters glitching on live TV. Let me tell you something. I want you to listen very, very closely to what I'm about to say, okay? I'm going to tell you about how you can see these people. Watch them very closely. Look at the eyes very closely. Listen to what they say. Listen to the voice, the tremble, the tremor in their voice, okay? If their voice kind of rumbles a little bit and gets down kind of low, watch out, okay? Because no matter how much evil and darkness is in them, sooner or later it's going to pop out somewhere, just like happened with me with shaking hands with that guy. It's going to pop out somehow or another, some way or another. Just be watching, okay? God will give you discernment to see these things, okay? Just say, God, please give me discernment so that I can see what's really going on here. Let me see the spiritual stuff that's in behind this, because the spirituality of things behind it eventually comes through the physical part of it. You don't understand that. And that's what's so very important while we're talking about the reptilian revelation tonight. This is what your enemy is. This is what he looks like. This is what he can do. Now that you know, you can be watching out for him. Watch the eyes. Watch the voice. Watch the tongue. Be careful what they say. Be careful how you deal with him. If you feel something ain't right, go with that. Because that's the Holy Spirit telling you something, okay? Listen to it. Do not, under any circumstances, push the Holy Spirit away from you and say, oh, that doesn't matter. Don't do that. No. Listen to it. Respect it, what it says here. What did I say at the beginning? The fear of God is not before their eyes. They have no fear of God. You have a fear of God, my friends. And by the fear of God, I mean respect for God. Okay? Okay? You better have respect for God. If you don't, you get in big trouble. But if you don't have respect for God, you won't hear the Holy Spirit talking to you, giving you discernment, giving you revelations, telling you what's really going on here in this situation. That's what you got to trust in, my friend. Don't trust in your eyes and your ears alone, or what somebody tells you, or what you think is going on. Get in touch with God. God will never tell you anything but the truth. Do you understand that? Yes, you got to trust that inner voice, that the speaking. Listen for it. Listen. Shut up every now and then and listen. Okay, that's what you got to do. That's the only way you ever learn anything in this world, and that includes God. Okay, you got to shut up and listen to God sometimes. Okay, we do too much talking in a lot of situations when we need to shut up and listen. Okay, and just like Elijah. You know, a big storm come up. He was listening for God. He wasn't in the storm. Big wind come up. He was listening for God. Wasn't in the wind. And everything got quiet, and there was a still small voice. That was God. We got to listen. Take the lessons from Elijah. Listen. Shut up and listen. And if you listen, you will hear it. But you got to listen. We have ears, but we don't listen. We have eyes, but we don't see. Ask God to give you ears that hear and eyes that see the real stuff here. And he will give it to you, okay? Because God wants you to have that. Yeah, they're lurking bunch, you know. Yeah, they're always lurking around, trying to listen and see what you're going to do. If you go out of the house and say, honey, I'm going to Walmart, I'm going to buy some groceries. Satan already heard that. He's probably going to be waiting for you at Walmart. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking here. This is real stuff. So, hey, it might be a good idea to shut up and not tell everything you know. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody's listening. Somebody's wanting to trip you up, do some bad stuff to you. If you tell Satan you're going to Walmart, you may never make it there. Do you hear what I'm saying here? Are you listening to me? There's an unsettling energy in the air, ATM. It feels like something big is ready to go down. A lot of people feel that, Lisa, because You feel spiritual disturbance is what you're feeling. You're picking up on a spiritual disturbance because the spirit of hatred and jealousy and darkness is rising in this world. If you don't feel that, I don't know what to think about you. You know, you're dead. You need to wake up. Just like I said at the beginning of this program, wake up before it's too late. You got to wake up, okay, and realize what's going on here. This is no time to be asleep. Time to wake up. It's gone beyond that. Your thoughts are telegraphed across the internet. They're anticipating your next move. They can. So always do the unexpected, Diana. That's how you trip your enemy up. Never do what he expects you to do. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you get that old son of a gun. He's been studying you, wondering, figuring out, hey, you know, you do this every Thursday, or you do this, you do that, you do that. I think I can anticipate what she's going to do next, you know? And what did I say? Every morning when you wake up and put your feet on the floor, Satan somewhere needs to say, oh, God, she's up. She's up. It's going to be trouble now. That's the way he needs to look at you, okay? Not that, hey, you know, what can I do with her today? You know, no. You don't want to do it. You don't want to go that route, okay? It was you that requested I friend you on Facebook. Carl wants to know, Lisa, if you got to friend him on Facebook. The enemy is always listening. Yep, always. So be very careful, you know. So when you go out the door next time, your husband or your wife says, "Where you going, honey?" Say, "Well, I got things to do." Okay, it'll be all right. You don't have to give a whole detail what your plan, what your itinerary is. Okay, I don't know about you, but the less my enemy knows about me, the better I like it. You got me? Well, Caleb Jade is having some health difficulties right now, Diana, but we'll see about him in the future. Okay, we'll see how he's going with that. He's having some health issues right now. Yeah, but yeah, I'd like to get Gary Wayne on here one night. We definitely want to do that, but you got to book him up for months ahead of time. But I'm thinking about getting him on me pretty soon. They look for our weaknesses and try to exploit them. Absolutely, that's what your enemy does. Don't give them any ammunition. Don't give them any help with that, okay? Say, no, I'm not going to cooperate with you. No, don't cooperate with them. It's bad enough your enemy wants to destroy you. Why are you going to help him do it? Don't do that. That's foolish. That's not a good thing to do. But that's what your enemy looks like, my friends. He looks like a doggone snake because that's what he is. Okay? They're snakes, spiritually and physically. Okay? But they can change whatever shape they want. They can look like the best looking thing you ever seen. Oh, yeah. Satan himself appears what? As an angel of light. Appears that way. Okay? I didn't say he was. He appears that way. There's a big difference there. Okay? You understand that difference? Appearing and being, okay, are two different things. Okay? That's what you got to remember about him. Well, his buddies do the same thing. Okay? They're all in the same club. Like I said, they use the same towels. Okay? They're all working together. And some human beings are working with them. Some people have sold their souls to work with them. You know what I'm saying? We need to understand what the enemy is out for. Okay? And you need to act accordingly with that. You've got to understand that, okay? It's very, very important that you understand that. But that's the revelation tonight. That what you're dealing with here are definitely reptilians. That's what they look like. And you see them talked and depicted this way all over the world. Okay? Because that's what their true nature is. That's what they really, really, truly look like. When you strip away the glamour and what they want you to see and the lies and the distraction and all that, that's what you're looking at. Bunch of doggone two-legged snakes. Okay? And they're out to get you. Yes, you. Not somebody else. You. I'm talking to you. They're out to get you. Okay? Be ready for them. Be ready for them, my friends. That's what this show's about. That's why we hunt the shadows. We have to hunt the shadows to know what we're facing here. We have to face the darkness, okay? We hunt the night and face the darkness. That's one of our mottos. And that's what we're doing here. That darkness is in the shadows waiting on us. We got to face it and fight it for what it truly is, okay? That's what the whole thing's about, all right? And that's what your enemy is. And like I say, don't help him. Don't advertise what you're going to do, but watch them close, okay? You will feel in your spirit if you're dealing with something like this. Pay attention. Pay attention to everything, okay? As much as possible. You want to know how to spot them? That's how you spot them. Pay attention and you will see things. You will begin to see things you didn't realize, okay? Because God will show you. God has given you a promise, my friends, okay? I'm going to leave you with this tonight. God has given you a promise, okay, that no matter what is secret or hidden, He's going to reveal it. Do you understand that? He's going to reveal all of the secrets, all of the hidden stuff, all of the things done in darkness and shadow. God has given us that promise. And when God promises you something, what have I said about it before? It's better than money in the bank. And God has promised you that. Good, Lisa. Be hypervigilant. That's what it takes. You got to be hypervigilant. You got to be on the watch. You got to observe everything. Okay, that's the first thing they taught me in law enforcement. From this day forward, you will observe everything. When you pass somebody on the road, remember what kind of clothes they're wearing. Did they have a beard? Did they have a hat on? Whatever the situation is, observe everything. Take it all in and see what's really going on here, you know? And God will give you pointers and clues. He will help you. You just got to get in tune with God. You know what I'm saying? You got to open up for that. My sister, who I never saw, found me on Facebook, and since then we saw each other in person. That's wonderful, Carl. Yeah. But yeah, we've got to understand, okay? This is stuff is walking in the spirit here, okay? That's being in touch with God. You know what I always say? Always stay in touch with headquarters, okay? You always want to be in touch with headquarters. And that way, headquarters can tell you sometimes what you need to know, okay? Very important, you know? If I called you tomorrow and said, okay, we got a situation here, you need to stay in contact with me, you're not going to hang up on me and just forget about it, are you? I hope not. You better stay in contact with me because we got a problem going on, right? That's the way it goes with God. You got to stay in contact with the master, okay? He's the real king, okay? The real king of the kingdom here. Not the one who thinks he's the king of this world. I'm talking about the real king. That's the only king you got, okay? He's the king of the kingdom of light. That's who you need to stay in touch with 24/7, okay? And then you will have a leg up on these demonically crazy people out there, okay? You will be ready for some. God's going to protect you. God's going to show you God got your back. Don't ever forget that, you know? I spot demonic compromise, sure, and somehow the 33 degrees Lucy's. There you go. You know, the Spirit will tell you these things. So it's down in you. It's put there by God. Just like I talked about, you know, that's personal space you got around you. Okay, you got personal space. You get to feel creepy when somebody gets in your personal space. You know, gets too close to you. You don't want to be there. You get that creepy feeling. Why are you doing that? That is something built into you. And I call it a spiritual bumper around you. Animals have this, not just humans. Animals have this. You get into a bear's personal space and see how quickly that's going to go bad. Think about it, okay? All right? Well, that's what you got to guard against. Don't let things in your personal space. But when you feel something ain't right, you need to go with that. Okay? Very important. Very important. I worked in CIS for children, units and experience the poor people riddled with entities. Absolutely. It's a sad, sad situation, Elvira. It is. I feel sorry. I pray for these people. You should pray for them. We need to all pray for these people. Darkness has got a hold on them. And if darkness don't turn them loose, they're going to be gone. You see what I'm saying? If darkness don't turn them loose, but the only thing that gets that darkness off these people is God. Okay? That's all. And you praying for them. That's the main thing. That's what you got to do. We call that intercessory prayer. You're intercessing for somebody else. They may not be praying for themselves, but you praying for them, okay? That's a good thing, all right? Because somebody needs to be praying for them, okay? Trust me, all right? That's the way that works. That's why prayer gets things done, okay? Intercessory prayer is a humble prayer. You're not praying for yourself. You're praying for somebody else. You're wanting God to bless somebody else. I don't care how mean they've been to you. I don't care what you think they did to you, whether it's true or not. Don't worry about that. Pray for these people. You understand? Pray for them. That's your intercessory prayer things you got to do for them. God wants you to do that. God asked you to do that. I can't be around many these days. I understand, but you do what you can. Listen, you do what you can. You feel like God allows you to do. Okay, God never wants nothing from you but your best shot. Okay, once you do your best, really, really do your best. Okay, that's all God requires of you. Okay, but God will help you out if you're doing the right thing, doing what God wants you to do. God will be there to help you out. Okay, don't worry about that. That's He's gonna be there for you, whether with any kind of support that you need. Okay, but anyway, I just want you to realize that this is who your enemy is. We can't talk about it enough because we got to get in our mind what we're facing here. We got to get in our mind what our enemy is and why he's out so bad to destroy us. Okay, if I can save just one of you from this, if I can save just one of you, then it will all be worth it. Okay, I hope say more than one, but we got to understand what we're dealing with and how to deal with it. I do not pray for demons, though. No, you don't pray for demons. No. Pray for the fallen angels, demons. Don't do that. No. That's just a waste of time. Pray for people that need intercessory prayer. Okay. The demons don't care about anything like that. They're gone. They're double downed and doomed, as the book says. Double downed and doomed. They are gone. That's it. They ain't coming back, no matter what. They don't want to come back. Don't you understand? You get to the point where darkness invades you completely, then you become nothing but darkness. You don't want to come back from that. You don't care anymore. You don't have a soul. You don't have a heart left anymore. You're in a bad, bad situation. Don't ever get in that kind of situation, my friend. You don't want to go there. No. But anyway, that's what you're facing with these guys. And I want you to understand that the revelation is, people talk about reptilians. Yes, they are real. They are out there. They walk among us. They're sitting on the boards of corporations. They're sitting in the military. They're sitting in the churches. They're sitting in schools. They're in the entertainment. They're in your basketball team. They're in your ladies' sewing circle. They're in your prayer group. I don't care where. They're out there. Okay, the enemy is out there. He's watching. He's trying to screw you up. He's got an enemy agent on the inside of everything. Okay, you might as well know that. Look at Jesus. He had 12 disciples. One of them was what? A devil. That's what he said as himself. He said, one of you is a devil. He knew that. He knew the devil. The enemy's always got somebody on the inside. Don't forget that. Very important. And so when you're in a group of people, I've often stood around wondering, now, which one of them is really working for the devil here and doesn't know it? A lot of times people don't know they're working for the devil. See, some do know, some don't care, but some don't. They don't realize they've been compromised. Just like this AI we talking about and all this other technology, it's already been compromised. Ask yourself this question: where did it come from to begin with? Huh? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Where did this technology come from to begin with? Because there's not a whole lot of difference between sorcery and technology. Some people say it's one and the same. Where do you think that come from? Huh? The bad guys. That's where it comes from. That's the shadow science you've heard me talk about so much. The dark stuff they put in this world for us to destroy ourselves with it. Okay? Why do you think they're going around getting microbes out of bats in a cave and turning it into something else? Why do you think this stuff? Do you think God's doing that kind of stuff? No, no, no. You got the wrong person. They have infiltrated every level and aspect of life. Absolutely, Red Pill. Every aspect of our civilization has been compromised. Okay? Long ago. It didn't start yesterday. It's been that way since day one. Since that garden. Okay? Look at that beautiful place that we had with animals not eating each other. Animals, living off the grain of the land. Playing around with lions and tigers. Everybody was happy. Things going along really splendid. Beautiful garden, everything you wanted to eat. You didn't have to go to work, didn't have to worry about taxes. What a wonderful thing we have, and then they screwed it up. That's Satan. That's what he wants to take away from you. He's doing a darn good job at it too right now. Everything we get, he takes it. He steals it. That's why Jesus called him a thief and a liar and a murderer. That's what he is. He steals everything that we could have. We could have wonderful things. We could have a wonderful life right now, folks. We could have the best time in our lives, enjoying ourselves, living forever, not worrying about a thing, having everything we wanted and nothing bothering us, no diseases, no sorrow, no pain, no tears. We could have a wonderful existence if it hadn't been for him and Adam and Eve. Boy, they really messed up. Look at all that we lost that we could have had. That's your true enemy. That's the face of your true enemy there, my friend. Whether he looks like a reptile or not, it don't matter. That's what he truly is. A liar, a thief, and a murderer. He's murdered a lot of people. He stole every happiness we could have had and lied about it. And lied and lied and lied and keeps telling us lies on top of other lies. That's who this guy is. And that's why we warn you against him. Be watching for him ever how he shows up. Because he does not have your best interest at heart. Oh no, he wants to destroy you. Simply because you were made in the image of your Father. That's why he hates you. He really hates your guts. He will be happy if you or I never took another breath. So demons will appear as beautiful angels, but real angels rarely appear. Real angels, Elvira, do appear, but most of the time you just don't remember it. Did you know that? I'm going to have to do another show on angels. I did one with my good friend Cryptid Warfare. We're doing another part on that coming up. We're going to talk about some of those very strange angels like the Orphan and the cherub and the seraph. The seraphs are very strange looking animals. Some of them you would not be able to deal with these guys, okay, because they would scare the dickens out of you, right? But they can appear to look in more pleasing form. A lot of times angels do help us and we just don't realize it. And because angels are not there to draw attention to themselves or to take attention away from God. They are there as your brother. They're there to help you. And most of the time, when they get done, you'll probably never remember them being there. But you will wonder, well, how did that happen, Or it turned out good and I didn't, think it was going to do that. Why did it turn out that way? Because angels had a hand in doing it. Angels are the servants of God. And when they want, and God wants them to do something, they will do it. And that includes helping you if you need their help. It just don't mean most of the time you may not remember it though, because that's the way it's set up, you see. My grandfather met an angel. She stayed with him in Nicaea at night and said no person in the sky was on ship. Well, there you go. They're everywhere. And there's more of them. Okay, I want you to think about this, okay? Because I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. There's more of the good guys out there than there are the bad guys. Trust me, I know the odds on this, okay? And the odds are in our favor, okay? Because not all the angels, only a third of them got thrown out of heaven. There was a whole, that means untold millions were left. Okay? Untold millions of angels. You know, we're not just talking about a handful of beings here. It's a vast universe, my friend. It takes millions upon millions. The Bible calls them the host of heaven. That means unnumbered. You can't number them all. Okay? That's how many you got on the good side. Okay, so the bad angels are outnumbered 3-1, buddy. At least, I think 10-1. But there you go. But it's amazing, and it amazes me how the bad angels still get stuff done. But they do. They do. But the good angels are getting a lot more done than the bad angels. We just don't know about it. You know, I wrote a story about that one time, and with a guy in the story, he says to the angel, you know, he knows he's an angel. He's talking to him. He said, you know, all those times we needed you, where were you at? You know, when things were going bad, all that, where were you at, Mr. Angel? Why didn't you help us? What happened? And the angel looks at him and smiles and said, we were there. You just didn't know it. Many times you didn't see it, but we were always there. Are not we concerned with even the lowliest sparrow? God knows the lowliest sparrow that falls in the woods, okay? He certainly knows about you and what's going on with your life, you know? God knows this. This is why he created angels to be there in many different places to serve him. They are the servants of God. But here's the good part. They are your brothers. They're your servants. They're your brothers. Okay? That means you're, if you're, a Christian, you believe in God, you got ever-present help right there. Jesus, all he had to do was speak. He said, all I got to do is speak, and my Father would give me 12 legions of angels. You know how many that is? That's 75,000 angels. Just that minute, he could have had that if he wanted to. And one angel in one night killed over 180,000 soldiers in the Assyrian army. 180,000 soldiers in one night. One angel. One angel could easily destroy the planet Earth. Why? Because angels are not that powerful. They have the power of God to back them up. And the power of God is unlimited. It has no end to it. It's all powerful. Okay? That's what you got on your side. Think about that. That should give you a good feeling to know that that's what you got watching your back. Okay? Cat keeps booting you out, huh? You two's acting weird. I don't know what's going on there. That's right. They are fellow servants. They are brothers. He said, the angel told John, get up. Don't worship me. I'm your brother. I'm his fellow servant. Don't worship me. I remember years ago when I was 18, I stood outside Manchester Cathedral and started snowing, and an old bag lady with shopping trolley at Pier. She pointed up in the sky and said, what'd she say? You left me hanging. That's where your help comes from. That's what she probably said. Because it does. The Bible tells you, lift up your eyes for the help that's coming. They know this is bizarre. Yeah. Well, maybe she wanted you to know something, You never know. Brandon Tiger Man. I like that name. That's pretty good. Welcome aboard there, Brandon Tiger Man. But yeah, we got to remember that's what you got. So don't worry about getting Superman or Batman to show up. You don't need those guys. You just need the holy angels on your side, okay? You got nothing to worry about. Shadow Wolves of England, yep. Shadow Wolf Division of England, yep. But anyway, that was our show tonight. That's the reptilians revelation, okay? You need to understand what the reptiles are. They are fallen angels, okay? That's who they really are, and that's their true form, although they can appear to be different things, okay? So don't let appearances deceive you, okay? Because there is an old saying, I think somebody said that once, appearances can be deceiving, and that is very, very true, okay? Never judge a book by its cover. I've seen some very snazzy looking books that wasn't worth reading, okay? That's the way it goes once you get past the covers. But you got to understand that's what you're dealing with, okay? In this world, things are not always what they appear to be and what you may think they are. Make sure that what you really believe in your mind, in your heart of hearts, is really true, okay? That you do have a handle on the real truth. That's the main thing. It's very, very important. But I appreciate you all being here tonight, and I want to say something that I hope that I've got some kind of bad news going on here. We're not making a quota. It's halfway through the month, and we've only got up to about $50. And I don't know. Looks like if we're not careful here, hunting the shadows may have to go dark. Okay, because whatever the situation going on here, support has dropped down to nothing. Very little. Got $4.99 tonight. Thank you for that, by the way. Danette, I appreciate that $4.99 sticker. Thank you so much, dear. And I think that might have got us to $50. What it is, the problem is I'm encountering a lot of bills. Heating bill is almost $500 for 1 month. That's going to take a big chunk out of everything. I'm not making any money on this program, folks, so I'm just trying to break even. But I just want to warn you, if things don't turn around, hunting the shadows may go dark. Okay, that's the way it looks. And so, and I do mean dark. And that's where we stand. I want to be honest with you and tell you what's going on. Okay, I always want to be honest with you because, like I said, this is your podcast too. But I just want you to know that, it's not looking good right now. And trust me, I'm not to get on here and beg for money and beg for support and all that. I don't like to do that. That's not me. But I appreciate what you do for me, absolutely, and it helps. But like I say, I'm on a very tight budget, and just my internet alone is $90 a month, and then I have to pay $10 a month for the StreamYard. So I have to clear at least $100 a month, or they will not pay me. YouTube will not pay me if I don't clear $100 a month. So I just want you to know what's going on with that, okay? And we don't want to go dark, but I'm facing that. I'm facing that if things don't turn around. And I just wanted you to know about it. Thank you, Joanne, for that $5. Thank you, dear. You are a blessing. Appreciate that so much. That might put us over $50 there, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate anything that you guys do for me. That helps me out tremendously. Like I say, I'm on a very, very tight budget. And I don't want to go dark. I don't want to go dark. We've been doing this for a good many years now, but I'm getting between a rock and a hard place, as we say in the South, and when you get between a rock and a hard place, there ain't a whole lot of places to go after that. You know what I'm saying? There's the Chandra. Thank you, Chandra, dear. Thank you, dear. I appreciate that 1999 sticker. Thank you so much. But you are a lifesaver. Thank you, dear. And I appreciate that. And that helps a lot right there. Maybe we'll make it to $100 this month, maybe. But I don't want to go dark. Don't want to think about it. I've never had to think about it until just here recently, And I don't want to get in that situation, but I want to be honest with you and let you know if you tune in one night and Hunting the Shadows is not here anymore, you know what happened, you know. But I would definitely try to, warn you before then, definitely. I'm not going to just pull it out for no reason, but I do appreciate everything you do for me. Okay, it's not just for me, and don't think we're doing it. We're doing it for each other. Okay, we're doing it for the podcast. We're doing it for each other because we like to get together and have shows like this and talk about things. I'm trying to line up more different guests for you and all that because I know you get bored from hearing from me too much. But we're working on a lot of that. Okay, and some of these people unfortunately are booked up for months right now. So we're gonna see. I'm trying to get my good buddy uh, Brian Singh on here, but he's been busy too. So we're trying to get some more people going here, and all that. But I appreciate it. I appreciate whatever you can do to help me out. Okay, but like I say, unless I clear 100, thanks to the stupid YouTube rules. Okay, if I do not clear $100, they don't pay me. I don't get anything. Okay. And like I say, I depend upon that to pay the bills. I'm not making any money on none of this. Okay, if I were in this to make money, I'm in definitely the wrong the wrong thing here. Okay, but thank you, Red Pill. I appreciate that, Red Pill. I appreciate all you do, brother. I appreciate that. Definitely, thank you. And I thank all of you very much for your support and what you do. And like I say, fighting against the tide here, But uh, uh, behind the scenes, hello, Chandra Roach. Hello, dear. How you doing? But yeah, I just want to be honest with you and tell you that's where we stand at, and all that. I'm not on here. I hate people that think get on and beg for money and ask for this and that and that. I'm not that kind of person to do that. Okay. But like I say, you get between a rock and a hard place, and sometimes the hard place is your tombstone. Okay, that's the way that goes. But as we say in the South, but I just wanted you to know. I just be honest with you and let you know what's going down with that. Okay. Now tomorrow I will be doing an episode with Chantel. You might find very interesting tomorrow at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Aquarius Rising, South Africa. I will be doing the cryptids of the Congo. I'm going to pull up some monsters you ain't never heard of. Tomorrow, cryptids of the Congo. And the Congo is as big in the middle of Africa, is as big as the United States of America. You know that, don't you? It is a big area. And thank you. The memberships are very profitable. Yes, thank you for memberships too. Anybody wants to give memberships, that's always a good thing too. Absolutely, that's a good way to show your support as well. Thank you. I didn't think about that, but yes, that's very true. Absolutely. But cryptids of the Congo. Whoa, giant spiders, snakes, the whole works, folks. You don't want to miss this one. Because I'm going deep into some of this stuff. I got some stuff that's going to blow your mind on this. I know Chantel's never heard of it, and she lives in the middle of Africa. Okay, she lives in South Africa actually. So I'm going to tell you something about Africa. It's just chock full of cryptids. I've always wanted to go hunt monsters in Africa. Yeah, the dark continent. Yeah, and this is the next best thing because it's full of monsters. Plenty of monsters to go around. But check that out tomorrow, 11 o'clock p.m. a.m. I'm sorry, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Aquarius Rising. Okay. All right. You want to check that out. Yep. Chantel's good. And then let's cash out. Okay. Bottom of the screen. Yep. My cash app is listed at the bottom of the screen down there. Also, my email for PayPal is also listed there as well. I'm looking at some new comments coming up. But anyway, I get quiet. You know what I'm doing, okay? But I appreciate you all being here tonight, and I hope you enjoyed finding out a little bit about the reptilians and what they're up to and how they figure out in this thing, okay? And be wary of them because they are out there. They may look human, but they're not. Sometimes looks can definitely be deceiving. So be very wary of that. But I appreciate you all being here tonight and taking this ride with us. And I will see you if nothing happens Friday night. We'll get back together then and see what else life has in store. Who knows what I might come up with Friday night. But anyway, definitely. What would you like to have a show on very soon? I was going to ask you some of that. Some of you, what would be something you would like to hear more about? It's time to take a poll now, okay? Let's do some poll work here. What would you like to hear about, or what show would you like me to do about? I'll leave it up to you. Tell me give me some feedback here. Tell me what interests you and what you would like to hear about. Would you like to hear some stories of things that happened to me, or would you like to hear, you want to hear more about the cartel? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Weird things happen when you talk about the cartel. Definitely. Yeah. And my buddy Overbuilt, he likes the cartel. So we'll put that in the pot. We'll put that on the poll. The cartel's one vote for that. Anybody else out there? I hear crickets. Come on now. What would you like to hear about on the next show? You got it. You got a choice now. Dogman research area. That's neat, huh? Wherever I'm at is Dogman research area. Okay, so that's a portable sign. Angels. We got a vote for angels here. Okay. Got a vote for angels. That's gotcha. I mean, have you listen to regardless of what. Werewolves, huh? Oh, okay. I like werewolves, yeah. They're handy. No cartel story of your experiences is always great. Okay. The thoughts about it's interesting me, never disappointed. Well, thank you, Joanne. I appreciate that. Squatch, huh? Well, I met that old son of a gun, I come away with a weird feeling about that son of a gun. There's something not white about that. Something is kind of dark about that. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that sometime, too. It was a very weird and strange experience. Although I had seen him many times, I never got that much of a close-up look at him, which is what I wanted. Unfortunately, it wasn't long enough. That's the way it goes. Dennis, I would like to see a show about disappearing. Let's see. A show about disappearing buildings. Man traveled to Indiana and had dinner with a wonderful family. Next time he went through the area town, did not exist. Yeah, I've heard several stories like that, Terry. Actually, yeah, that places that were places out of time. Like, here's something interesting. I'll leave you. And I was thinking about talking about this Friday night. Now, unless you change my mind, okay. We can talk about whatever we want to on Friday night. Like I said, this is our podcast, okay. But we can talk about it. But ask D to come on and share his Bigfoot stories and his videos and photos. Yeah, we'll have to get him on here one night, definitely. But I've seen some evidence. I'm just going to throw this out there for you. I want you to think about this a minute, okay? tell stories on his Facebook post. I like to hear him read it during this podcast. So, okay. Well, we'll look into that too. But yeah, I was going to say, I have seen some evidence. Now, I want you to think about this a minute. I brought this up with the common historian last night. Um, I have seen some evidence that somebody may be tampering with history. What if somebody is coming from the future and screwing around with our history and changing things slightly for certain purposes? You ever wonder about that? Hmm? You think that could be possible? If somebody is time traveling and comes back in time and is moving stuff around in our history and doing stuff to history itself, would this not be an attack upon mankind and his timeline? Think about it. It's freaky. New Orleans is Vampville. Yeah, definitely. You believe that? I mean, I've seen some evidence where you go back one time. Okay, put it this way: you look in the history book and you read one thing one way, and you go back at the same book and it's different. Something has changed, and you didn't do it. The book didn't do it. How did it get changed unless you change something in the timeline? What if somebody's messing with history here? That's not good. That's a matter of fact would be a very bad spiritual attack upon mankind itself. I already show a couple of ladies who met two guys in New Orleans who went to a bar with him and people in pure clothing. Yeah, you can go back. There are a lot of stories of time slips. We call them time slips, where people have. Okay, there was one incident. Listen to this, where a guy was. This happened in a British pub. Okay, I forget exactly where, but it was in London. Okay, now London has been there. Actually, London gets its name from Londinium. Londinium was the Roman name for London when it was conquered. It was run by the Romans. The Romans actually founded London, or very much like it, in that area. This guy was in the basement of a pub in like the 1960s, and he goes down there to get some wine or something. And while he's down there, he sees a troop of Roman soldiers marching through the basement. Roman soldiers from like thousands of years ago marching through his basement, and none of them paid any attention to him. It's like he was not there. Was he in a time slip? Did he see something back in time, or was he transcending time? Was he in their timeline? Did he look like a ghost to them? You got a lot of questions you got to ask with that situation. A lot of times ghostly activity, I believe without a doubt, is some kind of a time slip. You're looking back through history or something like that. Let me tell you this right quick. I was in a haunted fort. This is a fort. And out on the battlements, you see this. I mean, you can see this. This is on film, okay? I'm not making this up. You can see a flint strike. You see a spark, two sparks, and then a light. And the light glows a little bit and then moves away. You know what we were looking at? We come to figure out what we're looking at. Somebody's striking a spark to light a candle in a lantern and walk off from like 200 years ago. Is that weird or what? Yeah. Our inns and coaching inns and pubs are home to high heaven. I'm saying, well, they've been around a long time, Lisa. That's why they're so haunted. They're very old. The places. One of the most haunted locations I ever went to here in America was that inn in Charleston, South Carolina. It was there in the days of the 1600s. It was where Blackbeard the pirate hung out. I investigated that. But you're talking about a creepy place. Weird stuff happened. Cold spots, the whole works. I spent all night sitting on the 16th century seawall in the basement of this building where pirates hung out at. Pirate blood was spilled. Weird feeling, folks. Okay, you step back through time almost. Weird things happen. I even had some kind of visitation go on down there. I don't know what it was this day, but it was a weird situation. Yeah, there have been people over the bill to wake up and say, "Oh, the day did not feel right. You know, the whole day was different. Things were off. Things were reversed sometimes, and all that." And then people go bed, go home, and wake up next day, everything's normal. Did they spend a day out of time or what? You know, you got to wonder about that. But there's been a lot of incidences where there was this British couple, two women. They were on a holiday in France, and they actually saw the Palace of Versailles uh, as it was in the days of Napoleon. And they thought it was a reenactment, and they found out later there was no reenactment going on, and then everything was supposed to be normal in there. But they actually strolled through Versailles back through time, and actually may have even seen Marie Antoinette or something. You know, I don't know. There's weird stuff going on. That does not surprise me. That does not surprise me at all. Well, thank you, you know, I appreciate it. But like I say, I don't have to. I don't like to, you know, ask people for help. And that I guess that's too much pride or something like that. I don't like to do that. But you get in situations, you know, and things are going downhill. You need to warn people. You need to be honest with people about things like that. And I just try to be honest. I don't ever want to lie to my friends or you know, misconstrue things for what they are. I always want to tell the truth. Absolutely. No matter how good or bad the truth is, it needs to be out. You know, Northport, Florida is a crazy strange. Yep. And Florida's got some old forts down there too, as a matter of fact. Florida Everglades, yeah. One of the greatest ghost stories that ever happened ended up in the Florida Everglades with the flight of 401 crash in the Everglades. I always wanted to go to the spot where that happened. Maybe even find a little piece of the plane. That would be interesting. Florida Everglades, yeah. Don't wait till it's too late. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what we come up with Friday, and I'll take some of your suggestions. We just see whatever we want to talk about on Friday, eh? Yeah, we don't have to have a certain criteria. We can do that too. I enjoy talking to you guys and bouncing ideas off of you and stuff. Absolutely. But I appreciate you all for being here tonight and putting up with me another night here. And I hope you learn something about the reptilians. Okay, don't trust them and don't ever turn your back on them. Definitely not. There's one thing I found out about snakes. Okay, give me a don't trust them at all, whatever form they may come in. Here's the bad thing about a snake: you can cut his head off and can still bite you. Don't ever forget that. But I got an old saying that goes with monster hunters. Okay, are you ready for it? Monster hunting rule number one: it ain't dead till you take its head. Don't forget that one. That's a good one. It ain't dead till you take its head. I lived in North Point for 5 years, totally different place. Real great Krypton hunting ground. I bet it was. Whoever these crypt is, I want to be found there looking and researching. Oh, thank you, Joanne. We'd lonely without you as well. My buddy Overbill. Overbuilt Automotive, $12.99. I gotta discuss that with you sometime. Exactly what that means. I'm letting the chat wind out here a little bit. But anyway, I appreciate you all being here tonight and for your donations. You helped out a lot. We're getting closer to the goal there, okay? And if I can clear 100, we'll be in the clear. But I don't get paid if we don't. That's the problem. I don't know why they got that stupid rule, but that's the way it goes. Uh, They come up with something stupid like that all the time. It That's the problem when you got to monetize things, you know. More like underbuilt rust box, huh? Well, I may have a little rust on my carriage too. You never know. And I need to, I need to darken the beard a little bit there. So that's what the lady friend of mine tells me. You need to dye your beard a little bit. You'll look 100 years younger. I was like, God, if it's 100 years younger, I'd be a little baby then, wouldn't it? But anyway, I thought about darkening the beard a little bit. It looks better when it's done darker, you know. But I don't know. I I uh, I worked for all those gray hairs, definitely. Nothing like a mud truck and a mud hole and a pit dug for cooking fresh kill. Huh? Ooh, that sounds interesting. I could bring you in a wild hog here. Yeah. I just like monetized 7/3 split and all that. It's a bit greedy. Plus, they keep it not all the way to 100 wild minutes. Yeah, that's the way they do them. You make life interesting. If that's the name of the book. Well, thank you, Lisa. If I'm ever in England, I'm definitely going to drop in and see you. I had a very interesting case in Birmingham one time years ago. I'll relate this to you right quick since we're talking about England. Uh, this lady contacted me. She lived in a flat that was across the street from an old graveyard. And the reason she told me this, she wondered if maybe it had something to do with what happened to her. But she had a very demonic dream one night. And in the dream, um, this demon sort of attacks her. I'm not going to say sexually attacked her, but it kind of was sounded like that. It sounded very much like an incubi attack. And so the demon, she never saw the demon, but he was behind her. And she was like in the dream, she was like looking in the mirror, but she couldn't see the demon because he was behind her, and he put his hand on her, you know, and he told her, he whispered in her ear and said, "No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're mine. You belong to me." And when she woke up, she said, "I felt so dirty. I felt so you." So I went and took a shower, got up and get ready to go to work anyway. I took a shower. And I got out of the shower and my back was burning. And I looked in the mirror and there were 3 long scratches on my back in the place where I could never reach. And she said, "I remember that's where the demon scratched me in the dream." And she was very concerned about that. And I said, "Well, that sounds like a spiritual attack in your dream." But I told her, I told her some stuff she could do to kind of safeguard herself against that. But she thought it might have had something to do with the graveyard. I said, "Well, it's a possibility, but just because the graveyard across the street doesn't mean that." I said, "It could have been a demon you picked up somewhere else that follows you home and done that to you, whatever. You never know. They can hitchhike on you sometimes. But that was a very interesting case. And to have confirmation, because demons always scratch you with 3 scratches. Okay, that's usually the way that works. But that was in Birmingham, as a matter of fact. Lancashire. Huh? All right. I've had, matter of fact, I got through with a report the other day of a dog man being seen in England crossing the road over there in front of somebody's truck one night. I think they were very close to the moors in Cornwall, somewhere down there, I think. Anyway, this was a dog man, or was it a werewolf? Let me tell you something very interesting about dog man and werewolf. You got to ask yourself this question, okay? Is it a werewolf? Is it a dog man? Is it a werewolf that just took his clothes off? Okay, because most of the time people see a werewolf, say, "Oh, he's wearing pants, or he's got a shirt or a piece of a shirt on him." What if the werewolf just gets completely naked and turns into a werewolf? Then you wouldn't know the difference between the werewolf that much and the dog man, okay? Because neither one of them's wearing clothes, right? Could that be a possibility? You never know. Yes, the dark people here and all their black magic unleashes these entities. I've seen ghost monks. I've seen photos of ghost monks. Yeah. Um, One of the most haunted locations in the world was Borley Rectory, which I studied a lot back in the day. A very famous case. It had ghost monks and nuns too, matter of fact. It had some weird stuff going on there. Unfortunately, Borley burnt down. I would always wanted to go there where it once was, because it's sort of a well-known haunted site. And I'd like to know if it's still haunted. Just because the building burns down doesn't mean the haunting stops. You never know. I'm comment not there. Something nice. Cartel didn't do us what happened. Dartmoor, yeah, that's it. At least I couldn't think of the name of it. Dartmoor, yeah. It's a well known thing. It's been seen there several times. And my friend, a good friend that used to live in England, Nick Redfern, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a very famous paranormal writer. He lives in Texas now, but he comes from England. And he had some really weird stuff go on in Dartmoor. Uh, some strange stuff. Overbuilt that was happening to me now. I had to completely leave channel and then I could chat. It had some weird stuff going on with YouTube. I don't know. Like I said, last night it went down and I never seen it do that before. And that was really weird. That's wonder if somebody's messing around with it or what. You never know. Well, they putting in some new surveillance stuff in it or what? You never know. I had to completely leave the channel. Huh? But anyway, that's very interesting. Okay, we'll see what we get into Friday night. And I appreciate your support tonight, my dear friends. Thank you so much for that. And it means a lot to me. I know you're still supporting it. We do not want Hunting the Shadows to go dark. Okay? Do not. That's the last thing I want to do. And I think that's what you don't want that either. So we'll work against that as much as possible. We don't want that to happen. But oh, thank you so very much for your kind support, and I appreciate it more than you know. Okay, and but I hope you don't have too much trouble with YouTube here in the future. Maybe they'll straighten themselves out. I don't know, but anyway, I appreciate you all so very much for being here tonight, and I think we covered the reptilians pretty good. Who knows? If you have anything like that happen, though, you know who to contact. Okay. Worked at home prisons for a long time. Oh, yeah. Prisons and hospitals can be some of the most haunted places you can imagine. I worked at a hospital for 30 years, and that was one of the most haunted locations I ever went in. And I had some really freaky stuff happen in that hospital. And uh, I unfortunately could never investigate it like I wanted to, but I had some interesting times there. I have to tell you the stories about it sometime. But I even investigated a haunted ambulance one time at this hospital, and the ambulance was haunted by a ambulance driver that was unfortunately killed in an automobile accident when he wasn't on the job. He came back to run the job in the ambulance. It's a very interesting story. I'll tell you about it sometime. But anyway, it was one of the most haunted places I've been in, and I worked there for about 30 some odd years, off and on. I worked in the morgue a little bit, had some very interesting experiences in the morgue. Um, I'll have to tell you all about that sometime. We even had a customer set up one night in the morgue, and that's never a good feeling, okay, when your customer sets up like that. Uh, and he was not alive. He definitely was not alive. But I made sure of that. 'Cause I checked to make sure, hey, this guy's not alive, is he? Okay. But I had to edit that before I could get the post getting off the rails. It's getting weird, yeah. We'll close out then and let you guys go here and get done what you got to get done. And I will look for you all Friday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Aquarius Rising. We're going to do some cryptids of the Congo. The Congo, like I said, is about as big as the United States of America. That's smack dab in the middle of one of the biggest jungles, rainforests, and swamps in the world. And if there's cryptids anywhere, my friends, it is definitely right there. Okay, but I will let you go, and I appreciate you all so very much for hanging in there with me tonight. It means the world to me. You are my friends, okay, and I don't just use that word randomly. Okay, I mean that. Okay, without a doubt, I'm here for you. Okay, I don't care what the situation is. Something I can do for you, I will happily do it. Okay. And some of you have got some stuff coming to you in the mail, and you got some other things coming. I appreciate you all very, very much. I think Overbuilt's having some problems here. Okay, trying to connect there or something. But I appreciate you, Shadow Wolves. Thank you so much for being and hanging there. Thank you for being on my side and helping me out. Okay, I really appreciate that more than words can say. Trust me. Okay. I do. I appreciate you, beautiful people. All right. So take care of yourselves, and may God bless you all until we get back together again. If nothing happens Friday night, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, we'll be here for another episode of Paranormal Point of View. I think we'll be doing that this weekend. If not, with the Red Pill Preacher, we might come up with something. We'll see what happens. But until then, my friends, take care and be careful and watch out for those reptilians out there, okay? Keep your eyes open. Observe everything. It's very important. Observe everything, okay? God bless you all. And until we get back together again, non tambo mala. Fear no evil. Faith over fear, my friends. That's what gets the job done, okay? Hold the line. Hold on to the light. And I will be looking for each and every single one of you, shadow wolves, out there somewhere in the shadows. Until then, Godspeed. I stand amid the roar of a thirst-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, Oh God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? Oh God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or sing but a dream within a dream? You can support Hunting the Shadows at our Patreon, patreon.com, Hunting the Shadows Podcast. Also, our memberships are open on the Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. Please also support our Facebook groups, the American Institute for Paranormal Research, Southeastern Cryptid Investigations, Legend Trackers Society, Highway to High Strangeness, Monstrum Venators R.Us, Agency of the Arcane, and Hunting the Shadows Agency. You can contact Dennis Carroll at denniswcarroll.com.